T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
Roger. Thrusters go all engines. Looks good, Captain.
11 Houston, thrusters go all engines. You're looking good.
Hi, Roger. You're loud and clear, Houston.
We got a roll program.
Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on proper heading. Velocity 2,195 feet per second. 8 miles downrange, 12 miles high. Velocity 4,000 feet per second. Staging status.
This is Houston. You are go for staging. 11 Houston, thrusters go all engines. You're looking good.
Hi, Roger. You're loud and clear, Houston.
At 3 minutes, downrange 70 miles, 43 miles high, velocity 9,300 feet per second.
So we are showing 101.4 by 103.6.
Roger, shut down, and we copy 101.4 by 103.6.
This is Apollo Control at 36 minutes. We have a report on the launch heart rates now from the flight surgeon. Commander Neil Armstrong's heart rate 110. Command Module Pilot Mike Collins 99. Lunar Module Pilot Buzz Aldrin 88. These compare with their first Gemini flights, their first liftoff. Back in the Gemini program, Armstrong's heart rate was 146 at that time. Collins was 125. Aldrin's was 110. This is Apollo Control at 42 minutes, 53 seconds. Tananarive has loss of signal. We'll come back up at 52 minutes into the mission when the Carnarvon Australian station acquires Apollo 11. This is Mission Control, Houston.
Apollo 11, this is Houston through Carnarvon, over.
Houston, Apollo 11. Loud and clear, over.
Roger, 11, we're reading you the same. Both the booster and the spacecraft are looking good to us, over.
Check star 3-4.
Roger, we copy, and the angles look good.
Tell Glenn Parker down at the Cape that he lucked out.
Understand, tell Glenn Parker you lucked out.
Yeah, he lucked out. He doesn't owe me a cup of coffee.
This is Houston, Roger, we'll pass it on.
Roger, Bruce, thank you. We expect TV. We've got it all hooked up. We have not yet turned it on. We're ready to do that now.
Roger, we copy. We'll be configured and waiting for whatever you want to send down. Apollo 11, Apollo 11. This is Houston through Araya 4. Radio check, over.
We read you strength 4 and already crashing.
Roger, we're reading you strength 5, readability of 3. Should be quite adequate. Apollo 11, Apollo 11. This is Houston. We're reading you readability about 3, strength 5. Sounds pretty good, over.
Roger, we got a little static in the background now.
We want to add 10,435 feet per second to the spacecraft's velocity. Looking for a total velocity at the end of this burn about 35,575 feet per second.
Houston, Apollo 11.
Go ahead, 11.
Roger, do you have any update for the roll, pitch, and yaw angles on the top of page 37 in the flight plan, or are they still good?
That's for the optics calibration?
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. I'll give them to you in just a second here. Roger, 11. For the optics calibration, I've got 346.5 for a roll, 345.0 for pitch, and 007.8 for yaw. The pen and ink attitude corrections in your book for P23 are good, over.
Hello, Apollo 11, Houston. We see your middle gimbal angle getting pretty big, over.
Well, it was, Charlie, but in going from one auto maneuver to another, we took over control and have gone around gimbal lock, and we're about to give control back to the DAP.
Roger, Mike. We see it increasing now. Hello, Apollo 11, Houston. We've run the angles given in the flight plan for the P23 attitude to the machines down here, and they come up the same thing every time. We think everything's going correctly, Mike, and we're wondering if the non-symmetrical horizon might be giving you a problem, over.
Yeah, it could be, Charlie. Stand by here. We'll get another mark for you.
Okay.
Houston, Apollo 11, noun 49 for you.
Roger, copy. Stand by. Hello, Apollo 11, Houston. We recommend you accept the noun 49, continue through your sequence of sightings, and then we'll analyze the data afterwards, over.
Okay. Houston, Apollo 11, star 40 has just disappeared now in the sextant. Could the trunnion angle 47 something be a little high?
Stand by. Hello, Apollo 11, Houston. We'd like you to press on to star 44, over.
Yeah, Roger. How many marks have you recorded on star 40?
Stand by, Mike.
Okay.
11, Houston, we copied 2 good marks, over.
Okay.
Hello, Apollo 11, Houston, we'd like you to go on to star 45, over.
Okay.
And Mike, we think these large Delta R's, noun 49 you're getting is really meaningful since it's been way before TLI since we had our state vector update, and we think it's normal, over.
Okay, could be, Charlie. Some of the early markings I might not have had precisely the substellar point. I think as time goes by, they've been becoming more accurate, but old Enough here is just flat invisible.
Roger.
And Houston, Apollo 11, understand that the same 3 gimbal angles you gave me should be valid for star 45 as well. Is that affirmative?
I believe that's right. Stand by 1, over.
Okay.
That is negative. Stand by 1.
Okay, because there's quite a difference between the gimbal angles you have and the gimbal angles the program was, but with the inaccurate state vector, I'm inclined not to believe the programs.
Stand by.
This is Apollo Control at 8 hours, 8 minutes. Apollo 11 now 38,812 nautical miles from Earth, and traveling at a speed of 9,682 feet per second. And we've just put in a call to the crew we'll stand by for.
Charlie, it just appears to me that you have to have the reticle tangent to the horizon at the point at which you mark, or else you're not at the substellar point. You're off laterally, and therefore you're measuring a larger trunnion angle than you should.
It seems so to me. Our procedures people are working on this, and we'll be back with you momentarily, over.
Thanks, sir.
This is Apollo Control at 8 hours, 59 minutes into the flight of Apollo 11. The spacecraft altitude is currently reading 42,753 nautical miles, and we show a velocity of about 9,100 feet per second. We are in the process now of uplinking to the spacecraft the attitude for the passive thermal control mode. Under this mode, the spacecraft will be rotated about its x-axis at a rate of about 3 revolutions per hour to maintain proper temperature balance within the spacecraft.
Hey, Charlie, I can see the snow on the mountains out in California, and it looks like L.A. doesn't have much of a smog problem today.
Roger, Buzz. Copy. Looks like a good view out there then. And Apollo 11, Houston, we'd like you to keep the O2 fan on, and we'll give you an ECS configuration prior to sleep. Over.
Okay, fine.
Okay, Houston, we are sending a picture of Earthbound right now, so you can let us know if they're receiving in Goldstone.
Roger, 11. Goldstone is receiving the TV. Stand by, and we'll let you know on the quality. Over. Hello, Apollo 11. Houston, Goldstone says that the TV looks great. Over.
We're seeing the center of the Earth as viewed from the spacecraft in the eastern Pacific Ocean. We have not been able to visually pick up the Hawaiian island chain, but we can clearly see the western coast of North America, the United States, the San Joaquin Valley, the High Sierras, Baja California, and Mexico down as far as Acapulco and the Yucatan Peninsula, and you can see on through Central America to the northern coast of South America, Venezuela and Colombia. I'm not sure you'll be able to see all that on your screens down there.
Roger, Neil. We just wanted a narrative such that we can, when we get the playback, we can sort of correlate what we're seeing. Thank you very much.
I didn't see anything but the disky so far.
Looks like they're hogging the windows.
You're right.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. We lost you down in the noise on the comm link here. About the time you were describing the single cell cloud formation over Afghanistan-Pakistan area through the Sexton. Over.
Right, it came through a lot clearer in the Sexton than with the monocular, and you could definitely tell it was a one single cell in the latter stages of development. It must have gone up to over 50,000 feet, though. Eastern Mediterranean is phenomenally clear. You see all the lakes, the Dead Sea stood out quite well.
Roger, what appears to be the limit of resolution through that sextant from your current position? Over.
Well, I can't see it right now. It's outside the field of view.
Roger.
And I don't know how you'd really describe the limit of resolution. I'll think about that a little.
Okay, I guess the smallest object that you could pick out looking through it would give us a pretty good hag.
Well, you can see the Nile River going almost up to its source. The lake is obscured by clouds, but you can trace it all the way on up.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. Over.
Go ahead, Houston.
Roger, I've got the morning news here if you're interested. Over.
Yeah, we sure are. We're ready to copy and comment. Is that 2:30 there?
Roger.
Copy and comment. Okay.
Oh. Okay. Here we go. The interest in the flight of Apollo 11 continues at a high level, but a competing interest in the Houston area is the easing of watering rules. Mayor Louis Welch promises the lifting of lawn watering restrictions if the rains continue. Friday is partly cloudy and there is a 30% chance of thunder showers in the afternoon. In Washington, D.C., the Senate Finance Committee approved extension of the income tax surtax, but a Senate vote on the bill...
You cut out, Houston. You cut out.
Roger, where do you hold me cutting out? Over.
Houston, Apollo 11.
Apollo 11, Houston. Over.
Not clear, just go ahead.
All right.
After these rains in Houston.
Roger. In Washington, the Senate Finance Committee has approved extension of the income tax surtax, but a Senate vote on the bill currently seems remote. In Austin, State Representative Ray Lemon of Houston has been nominated as a national director of the American Society for Oceanography. Lemon has proposed a study of the possibility of establishing an Institute of Oceanography in Texas. This would be the first such institute on the western Gulf of Mexico. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Weather Bureau, after recapping today's weather showing a high of 88 and a low of 72, has noted snowfall, none. From St. Petersburg, Florida, comes a radio report from the Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl, which said that the crew of his papyrus boat, the Ra, will sail into Bridgetown, Barbados, despite damage from heavy seas. The crew, however, will sleep on an escort vessel. Norman Baker, navigator of the expedition, said the crew was aboard the Ra today repairing damage from storms this past week, which split the footing of the mast. Part of the broken mast was jettisoned overboard, and the vessel was 725 miles east of the Barbados. It is possible but uncomfortable to sleep aboard the Ra, Baker said in the radio report. But the purpose of our voyage is not a test of strength or human endurance. That is the reason why the crew was spending nights aboard the escort vessel Shenandoah, which rendezvoused with the Ra on Tuesday. In sports, the Houston Oilers are showing plenty of enthusiasm in their early preseason workouts at Kerrville, and Coach Wally Lem says he is impressed with the fine group of rookies. National League Baseball, for yesterday, Thursday, St. Louis 11, Philadelphia 3, Montreal 5 over Pittsburgh 4, Atlanta 12, Cincinnati 2, San Francisco 14, and Los Angeles 13. American League have Baltimore 3 over Cleveland 2, Detroit 4 to Washington 3, Minnesota 8 to Chicago 5. Boston and New York was rained out. And in Corby, England, an Irishman, John Coyle, has won the world's porridge eating championship by consuming 23 bowls of instant oatmeal in a 10-minute time limit from a field of 35 other competitors. Over.
I'd like to enter Aldrin in the oatmeal eating contest next time.
See, pretty good at that.
He's doing his share up here.
Apollo 11, Houston, over.
Go ahead, 11 here.
11, Houston, a little information to you there, CDR. We've all taken a momentary brief respite from our work here to have some special, have a bite of special moon cheese that has, I understand it, been sent to us directly from Wapakoneta.
Wow. Congratulations.
Your own hometown. Over.
We can't pronounce it either. I think you'll enjoy that. They make a fine brand of cheese.
Roger there, and I'll polish up the grammar for the next trip.
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. As the surface is fine and powdery, I can pick it up loosely with my toe. It does adhere in fine layers, like powdered charcoal, to the sole and sides of my boot. I only go in a small fraction of an inch, maybe an eighth of an inch, but I can see the footprints of my boots and the treads in the fine sandy particles. There seems to be no difficulty in moving around as we suspected. It's even perhaps easier than the simulations of 16G that we performed in various simulations on the ground. Absolutely no trouble to walk around.
descent engine did not leave a crater of any size. It has about 1 foot clearance on the ground. We're essentially on a very level place here. I can see some evidence of rays emanating from the descent engine, but very insignificant amount.
Unofficial time on the first step, 109.2420.
Mike, it's a little difficult to dig through the initial crust.
Very interesting. It's a very soft surface, but here and there where I plug with the contingency sample collector, I run into very hard surface, but it appears to be very cohesive material of the same sort.
Oh, that looks beautiful from here, Neil.
It has a stark beauty all its own. It's like much of the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here.
It pushes in about 6 to 8 inches into the surface. Like it's pretty easy to put on.
It is. It's. I'm sure I could push it in farther, but it's hard for me to bend down farther than that.
Didn't know you could throw so far.
You can really throw things a long way up here.
Neil, this is Houston. We're getting a picture. You're not in it at the present time. We can see the bag on the LEC being moved by Buzz, though. Here you come into our field of view.
You have to be careful that you're leaning in the direction you want to go. Otherwise, you slightly underneath it. In other words, you have to cross your foot over to stay underneath where your center of mass is.
For those who haven't read the plaque, we'll read the plaque that's on the front landing gear of this LEM. There's 2 hemispheres, one showing each of the 2 hemispheres of Earth. Underneath it says, "Dear men from the planet Earth, first set foot upon the moon, July 1969, AD. We came in peace for all mankind." It has the crew members' signatures and the signature of the President of the United States.
Columbia, Columbia. This is Houston, over.
Roger, Columbia, and see Charlie. How do you read?
Roger, Columbia. This is Houston, reading you loud and clear on Omni, Charlie. The crew of Tranquility Base is back inside their base, repressurized. They're in the process of doffing the plusses. Everything went beautifully. Over.
This is Apollo Control. Dr. Charles Berry reports the heart rates during this EVA period ranged from a low of 90 for both crewmen to a high of about 125 for Buzz Aldrin at peak periods, and a high of 160 for Neil Armstrong at peak periods. That top reading coming during the time he was transferring the rock boxes into the LEM. Dr. Berry says the data they got indicates Neil was working very hard at that time.
Tranquility Base, this is Houston. In the flight plan configuration, we show that the stability control circuit breaker, ATCA, on panel 16 should be open at this time. Over.
The end of it appears to be broken off. I think we can push it back in again. I'm not sure we could pull it out if we pushed it in now. Over.
Roger, we copy. Stand by, please. Tranquility Base, this is Houston. Our telemetry shows the engine arm circuit breaker in the open position at the present time. We want you to leave it open until it is nominally scheduled to be pushed in, which is later on. Over. And we'd like to say from all of us down here in Houston and really from all of us in all the countries and in the entire world. We think that you've done a magnificent job up there today. Over.
Thank you very much. It's been a long day.
Yes, indeed. Get some rest there and have at it tomorrow.
You commented, Neil, that on your approach to the landing spot, you had passed over a football field-sized crater containing rather large blocks of solid rock, perhaps 10-15 feet in size. Can you estimate the distance to this football-sized crater from your present position? Over.
I thought we'd be close enough so that when we got outside, we could see its rim back there, but I couldn't. But I don't think that we're more than a half mile beyond it. That is, a half mile west of it.
Roger. So you estimate your present position less than a half a mile, approximately west of this large crater. Over.
That's correct.
Okay, well, that takes care of the questions from our geologist for tonight, and unless you have something else, that'll be all from us for the evening. Over.
Okay, thank you.
Tranquility Base has confirmed that they left on the lunar surface all the items they had planned to. We have said good night to Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. We will continue to monitor throughout this rest period, which is scheduled to end at about 122 hours elapsed time. We're now 114 hours 53 minutes. Should there be any further conversations with either Tranquility Base or Columbia, we will come back up and bring those to you. This is Mission Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 115 hours 50 minutes. It's been almost an hour since we said goodnight to Tranquility Base. Dr. Kenneth Beers, the flight surgeon on this shift, reports that he does not believe that Neil Armstrong is asleep yet. From his heart rate, he thinks he's resting and perhaps dozing from time to time, but he doesn't believe that he's asleep. Neil is the only one being monitored in Tranquility Base. There is no biomedical instrumentation for Buzz Aldrin. Dr. Beers reports Mike Collins is sound asleep in Columbia as it orbits the moon. Columbia has just entered its 21st revolution of the moon. All systems on the lunar module are in good order, showing cabin pressure 4.9 pounds per square inch, cabin temperature 62 degrees Fahrenheit.
Eagle and Columbia, this is the backup crew. Our congratulations to yesterday's performance, and our prayers are with you for the rendezvous. Over.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. We are landed in a relatively smooth crater field of elongate secondary, circular secondary craters, most of which have rims irrespective of their raised rims, irrespective of their size. That's not universally true. There are a few of the smaller craters around which do not have a discernible rim. The ground mass throughout the area is a very fine sand to a silt. And I'd say the thing that would be most like it on Earth is powdered graphite. Immersed in this ground mass are a wide variety of rock shapes, sizes, textures, rounded and angular, many with varying consistencies. As I said, I've seen plain, what look to be plain basalt and particular basalt, others with no crystals, some with small white phenocryst, maybe 1 to less than 5%. And we are in a boulder field where the boulders range generally up to 2 feet, with a few larger than that. Now, some of the boulders are lying on top of the surface, some are partially exposed, and some are just barely exposed. And in our traverse around on the surface, and particularly working with the scoop, we run into boulders below the surface that is probably buried under several inches of the ground mass. Now, I suspect this boulder field may have some of its origin with this large, sharp-edged, blocky rim crater that we passed over in final descent. Now, yesterday I said that was about the size of a football field, and I have to admit it was a little hard to measure coming in, but I thought that it might just fit in the Astrodome as we came by it. And the rocks in the vicinity of this blocky rim crater are much larger than these in this area, some 10 feet or so, perhaps bigger. And they are very thickly populated out to about 1 crater diameter beyond the crater rim. Beyond that, there's some diminishing, and even out in this area, the blocks seem to run out in rows and irregular patterns, and then there are paths between them where there are considerably less surface evidence of hard rocks. Over.
Tranquility Base, Houston, we copy. Thank you very much.
This is Apollo Control. Columbia is now in an orbit measuring 56.6 nautical miles by 62.5 nautical miles, and the displays here in Mission Control show the range from Eagle to Columbia of a tad over 100 nautical miles and about 99 feet per second closure rate. This is Apollo Control. We've apparently had loss of signal with Columbia and Eagle as they went behind the moon on the 26th revolution. Next maneuver scheduled for about 33 minutes from now, while both vehicles are behind the moon. This will be the braking series of maneuvers, coming down to docking, or station keeping first, and then docking at about 128 hours ground elapsed time. This is Apollo Control. 127 hours, 50 minutes ground elapsed time. Less than a minute now away from acquisition of the spacecraft Columbia. Hopefully flying within a few feet of it will be Eagle. Docking should take place about 10 minutes from now, according to the flight plan. However, this is a crew option matter. We're standing by for word that data is coming in from the two spacecraft.
Okay, Mike. I'll try to get in position here, and then you got it.
This is Apollo Control. Communications are somewhat scratchy with Apollo 11. Columbia and Eagle now reunited to become Apollo 11. Again, our best estimate on the time of docking was some 3 minutes after the pre-mission time of 128 hours. Continuing to monitor this 27th lunar orbit.
This is Apollo Control at 129 hours 13 minutes. Apollo 11 is now 36 minutes 40 seconds from coming around the other side of the moon for reacquisition on the 28th revolution. We're nearing the end of the 27th revolution at this time. On the backside of the moon, Armstrong and Aldrin should be involved in preparing for transferring back to the command module with Mike Collins. They'll be cleaning up equipment and vacuuming off any particles of dust that remain before transferring to the command module. About 15 minutes after we reacquire, we would expect Neil Armstrong to be ready for the transfer to the command module. Buzz Aldrin to follow along behind about 30 or 40 minutes later. Here in Mission Control, we're presently completing the shift change. Flight Director Gene Kranz is replacing Glenn Lunny, and the capsule communicator on this shift will be astronaut Charlie Duke. The change of shift briefing is scheduled to occur in the news center at 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. At 129 hours 14 minutes, this is Apollo Control, Houston.
Columbia, Houston, your friendly white team's going to be on till we get you on the way home, and we'd like to congratulate everybody on a successful rendezvous and a beautiful EVA. It was a great show for everybody. Over.
Thank you, sir. I'll tell everybody.
Columbia, Houston, you can undock at your convenience, jettison at your convenience. We would like you to jettison Eagle and station keep in P47 and station keep, and we'll have another attitude and a maneuver for you such it will be okay for TEI. Over.
Roger that. Yeah, I'm standing by to go to P47 as soon as you give me a go for power arm.
Roger, thought we gave you that, Mike, your go for power arm and your go for jettison.
Okay. Okay, letting her go in 10 seconds.
Copy out.
Down 83 reading -4 balls 3, -3 balls 3, or correction, both register 1 and register 2 are reading -4 balls 3. Register 3 is zeros. The EMS remained on 100.0. Fairly loud noise, and it appears to be departing, I would guess, several feet per second.
Roger. Can you try to station keep with it, Mike? Just stand by now.
Will do.
Columbia, Houston, don't try to chase it. Just hold what you got.
There she goes. It was a good one.
Roger, Dodger. We got Eagle looking good. It's holding cabin pressure, and it picked up about 2 feet per second from that jettison.
I can see some cracks in outer coating around the tunnel. In the thermal protective covering. I don't think it has anything to do with structure.
Roger. Hello, Columbia, Houston. We'll have a attitude and a little blip burn for you at about 130.30 so we can separate from Eagle. Over.
Imagine the place is cleared out a little bit after that rendezvous. You can find a place to sit down almost, huh?
Raj, our moker's about empty right now. We're taking it a little easy. How's it feel up there to have some company?
Damn good, I'll tell you.
I bet you can almost be talking to yourself up there after 10 revs or so.
No, it's a happy home up here. It'd be nice to have some company. Matter of fact, it'd be nice to have a couple 100 million Americans up here.
Right, well, they were with you in
Just
spirit.
see what they're getting for their money.
Right, they were with you in spirit anyway, at least that many. We heard on the news today, 11, that last night after yesterday after you made your landing, The New York Times came out with a headlines, the largest headlines they've ever used in the history of the newspaper.
Same as a copy. I'm glad to hear it was fit to print.
It was great.
That's why we didn't read you up any newscast today. There really wasn't anything to talk about.
Hello there, boss.
This is Apollo Control at 131 hours, 48 minutes. We're standing by to reacquire Apollo 11. Acquisition should come in about 5 seconds. This revolution should be relatively quiet. We don't have a great deal of activity scheduled. The crew may have time here to get something to eat. And here on the ground we'll be computing the information needed for their trans-Earth injection burn. We do have data now from the spacecraft. We'll stand by for a call to the crew.
Here we can read up, over.
Pleased to have it.
Raj, Neil. Starting off, congratulatory messages on the Apollo 11 mission have been pouring into the White House from world leaders in a steady stream all day. Among the latest are telegrams from Prime Minister Harold Wilson of Great Britain and the King of Belgium. The world's press has been dominated by news of Apollo 11. Some newsmen estimate that more than 60% of the news used in papers across the country today concern your mission. The New York Times, which we mentioned before, has had such a demand for its edition of the paper today, even though it ran 950,000 copies, that it will reprint the whole thing on Thursday as a souvenir edition. And Premier Alexei Kosygin has sent congratulations to you and President Nixon through former Vice President Humphrey, who is visiting Russia. The cosmonauts have also issued a statement of congratulations. Humphrey quoted Kosygin as saying, "I want you to tell the President and the American people that the Soviet Union desires to work with the United States in the cause of peace." And Mrs. Robert Goddard said today that her husband would have been so happy. He wouldn't have shouted or anything, he would just have glowed. She added that was his dream, sending a rocket to the moon. People around the world have had many reasons to be happy about the Apollo 11 mission. The Italian police reported that Sunday night was the most crime-free night of the year. And in London, a boy who had the faith to bet $5 with a bookie that a man would reach the moon before 1970 collected $24,000. Pretty good odds. You're probably interested in the comments your wives have made. Neil Jan said about yesterday's activities, "The evening was unbelievably perfect. It is an honor and a privilege to share with my husband, the crew, the Manned Spacecraft Center, the American public, and all mankind, the magnificent experience of the beginning of lunar exploration." She was then asked if she considered the moon landing the greatest moment in her life. She said, "No, that was the day we were married." And Mike Pat said simply, "It was fantastically marvelous." Buzz Jones said, apparently couldn't quite believe the EVA on the moon. She said, "It was hard to think it was real until the men actually moved. After the moon touchdown, I wept because I was so happy." But she added, "The best part of the mission will be the splashdown." In other news, and there was a little bit, another explorer, Thor Heyerdahl, had to give up his attempt to sail a papyrus boat across the Atlantic. The storm-damaged boat was abandoned about 650 miles from Bermuda. The speed of the craft had been reduced to about 25 miles a day, and Heyerdahl said the object of the voyage had not been to provide an endurance test for the crew. Looking at the world of sports, let's see here. While you were busy the other day, Joe Namath and football commissioner Pete Rozelle made the announcement that Broadway Joe had agreed to sell his interest in the Bachelor's 3 restaurant and report to the New York Jets. And Joe arrived at the Jets training camp today and had his first workout. And several other Jet players who had held out along with Joe also reported. And Davey Hill from Jackson, Michigan, won his third major golf in his many starts in the past week. He won the Philadelphia Classic. Hill has won 4 tournaments so far this year and is the leading money winner with a cool 129 thou. And in baseball, the West Division of the National League remains a tight race. LA and San Francisco are one game behind league-leading Atlanta. The Astros have a record of 48 wins and 48 losses, and are now in 5th place, 7 games out. A twin bill between the Astros and Cincinnati last night were postponed because of rain. The Chicago Cubs are still in 1st place in the East Division. They led the New York Mets by 4.5 games. And in the American League, Baltimore is breezing toward the Eastern Division title. They lead 2nd place Boston by 11 games. Looking ahead, the All-Star baseball game is scheduled for tomorrow, and President Nixon was scheduled to see the game and then leave immediately after the game for the Pacific Splashdown area before going on his tour of Europe. And that about covers the news this day. You guys have been making most of it, and I'm sure we couldn't fill you in on any of the details that you don't already know. Al?
This is Apollo Control. We're now less than 30 seconds from the time at which trans-Earth injection is scheduled, the burn to start Apollo 11 on its trajectory back to Earth. We're now 15 seconds from the scheduled ignition time. That burn will last about 2 minutes 28 seconds and consume 10,000 pounds of propellant. The crew should be burning at this time. Of course, that maneuver is performed on the backside of the moon. We have no data from the spacecraft here in mission control at this time. We won't know how the burn went for about another 10 minutes, which is the time at which we're scheduled to reacquire Apollo 11. During the course of this burn, the spacecraft will increase its speed by about 3,280 feet per second, or about 2,240 miles per hour.
Everything up?
That's affirmative, flight.
Okay. Tony, loud and clear.
Apollo 11, this is the Launch Operations Manager. The launch team wishes you good luck and Godspeed.
Thank you very much. No, it'll be a good one.
CDR, FTC, how do you read me?
FCC, loud and clear.
Okay, Neil, have a good one.
Okay, all flight controllers, when auto sequence, stand by. Fido,
Go.
guidance, go. Good for staging, Captain.
Apollo 11, this is Houston. You are go for staging.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark.
Minus 5 minutes.
We've had shutdown.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Okay, everybody, T1. Stand by for T1.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.